Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to check out Superman Lost Issue 9 by Christopher Priest, Carlo Pagulayan and Dan Jurgens. Continuing on from the big cliffhanger of Issue 8, Priest dives into the drama of Clark finding out about Lois's sickness and how Lex is behind giving her cancer. I can't articulate just how much I love the dynamic Priest writes for Lois and Clark here. It's easily the most realistic version of their relationship the two characters have been in outside of something like the Superman and Lois show, which did it really well as well. How they argue with one another is just really so interesting, since both are well aware that they have done something wrong to the other and they seek to find a way to rectify it in a way that won't result in Superman killing Lex Luthor. Lois stopping Clark from going out to kill Lex is handled so well, and I love the bit that it boils down to just her telling Clark to find something better to waste his time on rather than Lex, since wasting time on Lex is what Lex wants. Lex wants the attention. Now of course the big elephant in the room is Lois's cancer, and we learned that it's not actually real, with Lois figuring out that if she had been bombarded with gamma rays, Lex would have been as well, being that they were sitting so close in the restaurant. So either it was real and he has a cure and has given it to himself, or it's all fake and he dosed her with something that just mimicked the symptoms of radiation sickness and cancer, which is what he actually did, all just to stir up Superman. This was kind of the perfect way around that story, since it avoided Superman having to go on, an adventure to find the cure for cancer and other illnesses, and it's something we've seen a few times before in Superman stories where he's set out to cure cancer or cure an illness that someone he knows has. We've seen it countless times, and I'm glad that they skirted around that. The reveals don't stop there, as all through the issue we get treated to these scenes of Lex dying horribly at the hands of Superman, building off what we saw in the last couple of issues with Lex having dosed Lois with this cancer. He's kind of getting ready for some sort of retaliation from Superman, so he's holed himself up in Texas in a safe house and is just waiting to see Superman come barreling through his wall and kill him. And what we see is his mind running through the different scenarios of what may or may not happen. The thing is though, Priest reverses it, and these aren't things that Lex is seeing, these are things that Clark is actually fantasizing about what he would like to do to Lex, and it becomes the subject of his next therapy session with Mike, as he tells himself and Mike that he doesn't hate Lex, so why does he keep having these thoughts? Priest lays out that Superman has these fantasies of killing Lex for what he did because he's human, just like everyone else. Everyone has had that fantasy at some point in their life. And I think that's a brilliant way to show his humanity, that he has these things that every human does, so that of course would make him human. And Mike's delivery of this revelation, alongside some actual medical speak about how the brain works and goes through hate and ego and everything, is great. And it's just more proof that Priest really did his homework when it comes to explaining technical things in his books. We saw this earlier with all the stuff with the space travel and the black hole and how time dilates and everything, and it's just that little bit extra care, since all of this could have just been, non-speak comic book science mumbo jumbo, but he put in that little extra effort to make it seem a bit more realistic. Mike also gives Clark and us a great place to leave Lex out on in the book, as the villain is now stuck in this sort of infinite loop of waiting for Superman to come and kill him, but because Superman is Superman and human, he won't, and Lex can't fathom that, since he doesn't believe Superman to be human, so he doesn't have human emotions, and he underestimates Superman, which again leads to his downfall. It's just an utterly awesome way to do the Lex Superman dynamic, and how a fight with them doesn't have to be about them matching each other blow for blow, but it can also be a bit of a cerebral one as well. There is also a wonderful undercurrent of belief through this issue, and really the whole series as well. Belief and hope is a big part of this, as well as a big part of the Superman character. But here it's really kind of at the forefront, as Lex relates Lois's story to the story of Emmaus from the Bible, and how the two people who were heading to the city of Emmaus were approached by Jesus, who hid his face from them because they did not believe. Belief in anything isn't something Lex has really, and his very narrow worldview makes him believe others are very much like him and don't really care or anything. But Lois's perseverance to fight her own battles is the complete opposite in him, since she does believe and she has hope. It's a wonderfully deep take on Superman, and specifically his inspiration and how he inspires people to believe and have hope. And I really like how Priest manages to keep finding ways and interesting ways to present these now decades old characters. And I think what's most important, for me at least though, is that it's not done in a very pretentious or preachy way. And there is a fine line when it comes to dealing with this sort of stuff with Superman, where sometimes it can get a bit pretentious, especially when people try and compare Superman to Jesus and, you know, Christ analogies and that sort of stuff. And it always comes off as really pretentious to me. And here Priest manages to not do that, and I think that's quite interesting, especially because he used to be a priest, and I think maybe that also informed how he can handle this sort of stuff and how he can handle someone who is larger than life and can inspire people. Now you would think that after all of that drama and fantastic writing that Priest gave us, he would be ready to round out the series as the next issue is the last issue, but nope, he drops one final bombshell onto everything just as it was starting to get back to normal for Lois and Clark, and we find that Bruce Wayne turns up and reveals that Hope, the Green Lantern Superman fell in love with while on Kansas, managed to follow the signal that he sent out into space when Superman got back to Earth. And not only that, she is pregnant. This is an absolute swerve in the story that I did not see coming at all, and just when you think you have a handle on Priest and his stories and have it all figured out, he just throws a curveball at you and it just throws you for a loop. And I have no idea where this is going to go in this final issue, and I think they want you to believe that maybe she is pregnant with Clark's child, but I don't think it will be. I think it will be revealed to be someone like Victor's child, since she would have been living on Kansas and maybe she got very comfortable with Victor or someone else in the Republic that was there. But on the other hand, I kind of want to buy into that and actually have it revealed to be, no, this is actually going to be Clark's child, and like, what does that cause between Clark and Lois, and like, what's the drama with that? That's just so interesting and so unique to a Superman story that you'd have someone just turn up and maybe someone be bearing the child of Superman who's not Lois, and that's really quite interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Priest has in store for us, since if the last 9 issues haven't been any indication, he knows how to write Superman, and I'm intrigued to see what new things he's going to bring to the character with this revelation. Superman Lost issue 9 was another just fantastic character-focused issue of Superman. Christopher Priest understands the assignment he's been given and writes it just so well. I thoroughly enjoy everything he does with the character and how he finds new ways to make these characters interesting, and how he manages to make plots we've seen countless time and time again with Superman feel unique, refreshing, and interesting. I'm thoroughly looking forward to that final issue, especially thanks to that last page twist with Hope turning up pregnant with maybe Superman's baby. It's such a swerve in the storyline that I did not expect at all, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. And if you haven't been reading this series, now is the perfect time to pick up. We've got one more issue left, 10 issues in and out. It's not set in continuity, so it's a sort of out of continuity black label, you know, one-off book, so you don't have to read a bunch of other books for it to make sense or anything. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm going to give this issue a solid 10 out of 10.